Welcome to Madlit Musings, the podcast where we dive into the minds of authors, exploring the profound realms of faith, social issues, and the delightful world of entertainment. I'm your host, Jaime Jo Wright, and on this literary journey, you never quite know what you're going to get. Hello, everyone. It is Jaime Jo Wright here at Madlit Musings with my cohort in crime, the furry, fuzzy Foo cat laying over here to my left. And then, I won't introduce her as furry and fuzzy, but she is equally as delightful. We have Amanda Cabot back with us. That was the worst introduction I have ever made on this podcast.
And I am so delighted to be here with you and your cat, who was one of the stars of the last time that we did this.
I think so. He,
Well, it made it so much fun for our viewers because they had more to look at than just you and me.
Right. Of course, now he's just sleeping there, so we'll see if he decides to partake in the podcast.
Okay.
But oh, man. Amanda, it's so good to have you back, which is exciting because we literally just had you not too long ago with the third book in your series, and now we have a special announcement.
Well, yes, because for everybody who didn't want to leave Sweetwater Crossing, which was my last series,
yes,
I was one of those people. And so there is a fourth Sweetwater book. Mm-hmm. It's a Christmas story. Hoping that you can see this.
Yes.
I got the proof on the cover, and I'm thrilled with it. The book is called One Special Christmas. And yes, it takes place in Sweetwater Crossing because I didn't want to leave there any more than my readers did.
I know. Sometimes you get in those fictional towns, communities, and they become so real that you're like, oh, please keep coming. I want to keep coming.
Well, and part of what happened was when I was doing the page proofs for Into the Starlight, the last of what was supposed to be the last Sweetwater book, I realized I still had an open question. I had answered all the big ones, like what happened to Clive Finley. But as a result of what happens at the end of the book, and I'm not going to give more details, there is a piece of property that's vacant. And I started saying, what happened to that? I mean, you can't just leave it empty.
Right.
And so my idea was, well, I'll add a paragraph to the epilogue. Didn't work. I mean, it was like, okay, that's the author is just plugging it in there.
Right, yeah.
Didn't work.
Nope.
So then I said, okay, I can answer this question and write a Christmas novella. So that's what I started doing. The problem is I am always challenged with word count. I mean, my editors tell me you've got a maximum of 83,000 words. And there I am cutting at the end, trying to get it down to 83,000.
Ooh.
I should have realized that was going to happen to me with this, because what happened was this novella kept growing and growing and growing.
And getting bigger and bigger.
But,
I'm not sure anyone's going to complain, though. I mean, I doubt we're going to complain about a full-length novel from you, Amanda.
It's just, it grew. But that's the background to the story. And it's been a lot of fun staying in Sweetwater Crossing.
Yeah.
Writing this book.
Have you written Christmas stories before around some of your other characters in books?
Not about them. I did a Christmas novella for Revell. Oh, good grief. 12 years ago, maybe?
Sure, yeah.
Called Christmas Roses. And that was set, it was supposed to be a continuation of my Texas Dreams books that were set in my fictional town. Because there was a character there that could easily, a very minor character, could easily have his own story. And my editor said, this isn't going to work. That series is wrapped up. Set it someplace else. So Christmas Roses became a standalone set in Wyoming, which was actually better in terms of a Christmas book because you can have snow.
Right.
And it looks a lot more like Christmas.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I had done a couple Christmas novellas. But this is the first time I've done a Christmas story that was a continuation.
Yeah.
of
Okay. So
series.
that's exciting. So this book is called One Special Christmas, and it's a continuation of the Sweetwater um, trilogy that you've had come out. Tell us a little bit, or what you can. Obviously, we know we can't do spoilers, but tell us a little bit about what readers can expect.
Well, unlike the Sweetwater books, the first three that featured three sisters,
Okay.
this one has new people coming to town. There is Greta, who is coming from Houston, and her mother has died, her father died a few years before. She is now the sole person responsible for her young brother. And they're working as servants in a house in Houston when a man
Okay.
threatens both of them.
Mm,
And on top of that, her brother has been diagnosed with tuberculosis,
mm,
which is pretty much fatal.
yeah.
His dream has been to see Pikes Peak before he died. He wanted to see this snow capped mountain. And so she's going to do everything she can to make that dream come true.
Hmm.
She sells a priceless family heirloom to get the money and flees because number one, she's got to get away from this man who's threatened
Right.
them. But
Right.
number two, she wants to give her brother his dream.
Mm,
And so they head off. They're going across Texas when he becomes very, very ill again. She can't go any further. What is she going to do? Well, she winds up in guess where? Sweetwater Crossing.
there we go.
And it just so happens, for people who've read Into the Starlight, Sweetwater Crossing has a physician who is an expert on diseases of the lungs,
Mm,
and that's what her brother has.
hmm.
So it's fortune. No, actually, it's God leading her to Sweetwater Crossing.
Right. Right.
And so she's there. But they tell her, yeah, your brother really shouldn't be traveling anytime soon.
Hmm.
You're going to be stuck here for a while.
Yeah.
And so then she's offered a job working at the tea room, which is what's on the cover of the
Hmm.
book.
Hmm.
Um, and if she'll stay until the first of the year, which of course
Okay.
goes past Christmas.
Right. Right.
Now, of course, we have to have a hero.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And that's Matt, who's a newcomer to the town. He's a rancher, but this isn't really what he wants to do in life.
Hmm.
He brought his family here because his father's dream had been to be a rancher.
Okay.
So they came here, they bought the ranch. But what Matt really wants to do is become sheriff.
Mm.
And so there's a whole election and lots
Yep.
of things happen. But Matt is our hero,
Okay.
and Greta is our heroine.
There you go. And it all takes place with Christmas looming in the distance.
Yay!
So Christmas in Texas is a little different because you probably didn't get to incorporate snow into this one, I'm
No,
assuming.
no snow. That's, it does snow in Texas occasionally, but it
Hmm.
is so rare that
Yeah.
I actually tried to put snow in an earlier book, and my editor said, "Come on now, I know it happens, but it's not even once in a blue moon. It
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
doesn't happen very often.
Right. Right.
So let's not strain readers' credibility. You can have a rainstorm, but not a snowstorm."
No, a rainstorm is a little different than a snowstorm, but you can
Yeah,
still have, similar chaos and catastrophe come from it. So I
yeah.
guess that works.
So,
So, okay. So we have to be careful talking too much about the story itself, but tell me about this tea room that Greta works in, because that sounds super historically cool.
well, that tea room actually came into existence in the second of the Sweetwater Crossing books,
Okay.
Against the Wind.
Hmm.
That's where we have Louisa, the doctor in training, who
Hmm.
finds this man on the side of the road. He's got this
Yep.
badly broken leg, he
Yep.
suffered from dehydration and all that. Well, he is part of a family, the Porter family, which owns this emporium in New York,
Okay.
Porter and Sons, which is they call it the New World's answer to Fortnum and Mason.
Mhm. Mhm.
And he's off, I mean, supposedly looking for new ideas for porters. But while he's in Sweetwater Crossing, he sees these two Sunday houses, which are these small houses that the German residents built. The ones who lived on outlying farms and ranches built these tiny houses in town
Okay.
because they would come in on Saturday, do their shopping, stay overnight for church services on
Okay.
Sunday. And so they
Mhm.
needed a little place. Well,
Yeah.
he sees these two Sunday houses that are like mirror images of each other, and he's enthralled.
Mhm.
There's so much possibility. So he buys both of them and he turns one into a tea room, the other one into a tea shop selling specialty
Oh,
items
okay.
that his family
Yeah.
store had.
Yeah.
And he connects them with a porch and everything.
Mhm.
So they had a woman running the tea room.
Okay.
But, well, she's very close to giving birth, and she'd much rather stay home with her baby than continue working at the tea room,
Yeah.
which is how Greta comes into the
Oh,
picture.
okay.
But Greta has her own ideas about how to make this a special Christmas. She can't get her brother to Pikes Peak,
Mhm.
but she's doing everything she possibly can for him and then for the residents of Sweetwater Crossing. And so she comes up with ideas for the tea room, ideas for other activities for the town, trying to make it, again, a
Mhm.
special Christmas for
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. That sounds so cool. And I can imagine like a tea room at Christmas. I mean, how beautiful would that be? Like the China. I know you have the cover of it kind of shows.
Well,
That's probably
we
why it's in my
even
mind.
have, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a Christmas tree over here.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, I can't tell you how thrilled I am with the cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it definitely gives you, for readers who are listening and not watching this, it gives you this old Victorian, beautifully wood embellished room with a long table, just beautifully decorated for Christmas and tea, and then a beautiful Christmas tree, and then the heroine standing there.
Yeah.
It's great.
And the back cover of the book is equally interesting because it has a Victorian style tapestry
Tapestry.
on there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And and I have to put in a plug for the fact that this book will be available, obviously, as an
Mhm.
ebook,
Mhm.
because many readers like me prefer ebooks,
Yeah.
paperback, but it's also going to be available in hardcover.
Nice.
And I'm really, really happy about that because it's the kind of book that makes a nice Christmas gift. And of course,
Yeah.
there's something really special about hardcover books for
And
kids.
why is that? I don't know why that is. There's something you get a paperback book and it's like, "Oh, this is nice." And then you get the hardback copy and you're like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
beautiful." I'm
Well,
not sure
I got the
why.
proof of the paperback first and I
Mhm.
loved it.
Mhm.
And then I got the hardback and I went, this is great. I was so excited when I got it.
It is very exciting. It's very exciting to get the proofs of the books when they come, and then, like you said, just see everything kind of come to fruition, and it's probably fun for you too because you didn't expect to get to stay in Sweetwater Crossing, and yet here you are with another book, and it's a Christmas time book. So,
And by the way, speaking of covers, I want to tell you that the cover of your next book is incredible.
oh,
I mean, I want to read that book because your name is on the cover. But even if I didn't know who you were, the cover alone would make me say, oh, I've got to buy this book.
they did a phenomenal job with that cover, and I'm not sure if they're going to be able to outdo it ever again.
Well,
There is something to be said about cover love, though, and I think it's interesting because a cover, and as we're talking about your cover too, it really sets the tone visually for what is going to be in the story, and I think that's really important, don't you?
and we keep hearing this story about don't judge a book by the cover, but
Mm,
we all do.
we all do.
And,
Yeah.
especially now when a lot of the shopping is done online.
Hmm.
So you're not in a bookstore where you can pull it off the shelf,
Hmm.
read the back cover copy. I mean, your first impression is that cover.
Hmm.
And I remember back when I wrote for the secular market, I mean, some
Yeah.
of the covers were just ludicrous.
Yes.
Um, you know, I had one that was set in Alaska, and it
Mhm.
had a man with a bare chest in
Oh,
Alaska. I like, okay.
okay. Well,
Yeah,
they say they're quite strong and burly there, so maybe they can go
well,
shirtless in negative 40 degrees.
he's either going to suffer from frostbite or mosquito bites.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, exactly, depending on the time of the year.
but that was what covers were like
Right.
in the 80s.
Mhm.
And
Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad we've kind of graduated past the bare-chested heroes on the covers.
yeah,
I think I would much prefer a Christmas tree. And oh, so when you were research, I was going to ask you this. Christmas in Victorian era was decorated to a degree similarly, but it was very different too. Did you kind of do the research into how they lit the tree, how they decorated the trees, how they decorated their houses?
actually, I didn't.
Okay.
Um, the book was getting long enough without adding all those details.
Like, Jamie, I didn't have enough word count left.
Oh, no, no, I had too many words. So I didn't. But
Mhm,
the research books that I have, one of
mhm,
my favorite being the Time Life series, This Fabulous Century, that
mm.
has the 20th century, but it has a prelude book that goes from 1870 to 1900.
Okay.
And there's a whole section in there about the Victorians
Mhm.
and the way they decorated and the the things they did for the various holidays. I mean,
Yeah.
everything was what we would call over the top.
Oh. Mhm.
And I mean, there were things like most houses had a piano, but
Okay.
this wasn't just a piano. You had it pulled away from the wall so that you could have a special, like, tapestry hanging on the back of the piano.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, I couldn't work that into the book, but
Yeah, I suppose. I suppose. You'd probably end up getting comments like I do sometimes where my editor's like, you know what? We don't need 5 pages of description on the parlor of the house. We need
yeah,
to keep moving.
but you're going, but it's so
I,
interesting. I
it
want to set the
is. It
mood.
is. Have you ever, this is totally unrelated, but have you ever gotten those coloring books? They're adult coloring books where you have like Victorian houses and Victorian rooms, and you can actually color. They're just ridiculously fun because you have this beautiful Victorian aura, but you get to choose the colors. It's like my 6-year-old self comes alive.
I haven't done that, but I'm going to have to look into that.
They're
It's like,
so
but
fun.
where do you find the time to do it? Is my question.
Oh, sometimes a lot of times I'll do it on Sundays because we spend some time with my in-laws and my mother-in-law, and I like to watch, the Hallmark Channel or just some movies. And so I'll sit in color while we're watching TV or something like
Mm.
that. But it's not something I do on a regular basis. But when I can, it's just fun to let your imagination. And they have some too with like women in full Victorian getup, but it's all black and white, and you have to
Ah,
color the dresses and the silks. And I don't know. Call me 8 years old. I never quite grew up, and I do like to color. So
well, the next time you and I talk, I'll expect to see you dressed in Victorian clothes.
there we go. I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to
Well,
do that. My mom has all kinds of pictures of me. I would dress up as a Victorian and then I would go outside and I would just imagine myself in a story.
ah,
It was so much fun with puffed sleeves and
mhm.
aprons and my hair done up. I still have the hair up on the top of my head, but I'm not sure it's done quite as nicely. I don't have a lady's maid.
No, well, I mean, that's the thing when you look at how the Victorian women of a certain social class
Hmm.
dressed,
Yeah.
they had to have maids.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember going to a presentation called Dressing the Victorian Woman.
Okay.
She had to put her hat on before her the bodice to her
Hmm.
dress because when you got laced into the corset and buttoned into the dress, you couldn't raise your arms that much to put the hat on.
You're
I mean,
kidding.
can you imagine walking
No.
around and not being able to do your hat? I mean,
It's so constrictive. Like I think about now, like I don't know. I'm too much into the comfort clothes. I think, sweatshirts and hoodies and, t-shirts and stuff. But you look at back then and like seriously, your posture was half induced by the fact that you couldn't move.
or breathe,
or
or breathe
breathe.
freely.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness. Well, that's so much fun. And I love the fact that you're doing this book called One Special Christmas with Greta and Matt. And it's available October 8th, correct?
October 8th,
All
yes.
right. So, and can we get it on pre-order if we're hearing this before the 8th?
Yes, the ebook is available for pre-order.
Okay. Wonderful.
And
Wonderful.
the paperback and hardback, actually, I'll admit this, will be available for sale on October 1st.
Ooh.
So that
Dun, dun,
people
dun,
can, because they can't get it
Yeah.
immediately like
Right.
the ebooks. And I want to
Right.
make sure that they could have, anybody who wanted paperback or hardback could have it in their hands the same day that the ebook goes live.
Well, and it's always great to have these types of Victorian Christmas novels before Christmas so you can help get into the Christmas spirit
Yeah.
by reading a good story. So, Amanda, this is so much fun. I love talking all things Victorian with you and Sweetwater Crossing, and I'm so excited that there's a 4th book coming out. So congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
You have a wonderful day, and we'll have to have you back because more
And
stories I have a feeling are knocking around.
out that your cat did wake up long enough to change position.
Oh, he did. I never even noticed. Well, there you go.
Well, see, I got to see him and you didn't.
Yes, exactly. You got to see Food change positions. Well, it's a tough life being a cat.
He wasn't as interested in Victorian things as you and I are.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Oh, thank you so much, Amanda, for being with us today.
And thanks so much for inviting me. I always love our conversations.
They're so much fun.
Yes.
Thank you for joining Madlit Musings, where every conversation is a journey and every book is a new adventure. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast player or check us out on YouTube, and let's explore the fascinating intersection of faith, society, and storytelling together.